Alcaraz responds to the controversy over Donald Trump's reaction at the US Open. The images of the final between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner not only left a new chapter in the history of tennis, but also an unexpected debate on social media. And it wasn't about a point, or about the Merchants' celebration, but about the reaction of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, from the box. The cameras focused on him right after Alcaraz's victory, and his gesture was cold, distant, very different from the widespread euphoria in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Now, Alcaraz himself has broken his silence. Nobody wanted to miss the great final of the 2025 US Open. Hollywood actors, NFL and NBA stars, business people and politicians came to New York to witness the clash between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Among them, a figure who always generates headlines, Donald Trump. Security even caused the match to start half an hour late. Everything was set for a final that ended with Alcaraz's sixth Grand Slam. However, when it was over, and the cameras turned to the US president, what should have been just a protocol image became the source of a flood of comments. Trump appeared applauding, yes, but with an expressionless, distant face, without the emotion felt throughout the stadium. The crowd at Arthur Ashe erupted in applause and shouts, while his reaction was perceived as cold. Social media interpreted it as disinterest, displeasure, or even disapproval. From there the controversy arose. Was Trump upset with Alcaraz's victory? With the uproar on social media and the headlines multiplying in the international press, Carlos Alcaraz decided to speak out. The Merchant, far from fueling the controversy, chose to ease the tension and sent a calming message. "I've seen the controversy online," he began explaining. "In the end, it's a moment caught by the cameras and it can be totally misinterpreted. People may come to think that he didn't like that I won." With those words, Alcaraz made it clear that he doesn't believe there was any bad intention in the president's reaction. Rather, he interpreted it as a gesture taken out of context, a frozen instant that on social media gets magnified and becomes a trend. The Merchant's message reflects maturity and also experience in handling this type of situation. Instead of getting into a clash of interpretations, Alcaraz chose to remain neutral, aware that his sporting victory should not be mixed with political controversy. Alcaraz's statements have had an immediate echo. Many users highlighted his ability to downplay an issue that, in reality, should not overshadow his triumph. Others, however, maintain that the images from the box speak for themselves. The truth is that the episode shows the power of social media to generate narratives around a simple gesture. In the digital age, a cold clap can turn into a political debate, and a tennis match into ground for social analysis. Alcaraz, barely 22 years old, shows that besides being a sports star, he is also starting to handle the media stage surrounding him. The 2025 US Open final left Carlos Alcaraz with a sixth Grand Slam title and the top of the tennis world. But it also generated an unexpected debate with Donald Trump's reaction in the box. Alcaraz, with elegance and restraint, responded to the controversy, reminding everyone that everything can be misinterpreted when cameras freeze a moment. His message was clear: he sees no problem and prefers the conversation to return to where it should be, on the court, where he once again made history. Sinner's drastic decision after losing to Alcaraz: "Even if I lose some matches." Sinner has won only 5 of the 15 times he has faced the Spaniard and just one of their last 5 finals. Jannik Sinner once again saw Carlos Alcaraz take a Grand Slam away from him after having done so at Roland Garros. This time, it was the US Open where the Spaniard took his particular revenge after losing at Wimbledon. The Italian not only gave up the crown he was defending in New York, but also saw the Spaniard snatch the world #1 ranking from him. Alcaraz has Sinner's number, beating him in 10 of their 15 duels, as well as in 4 of their last 5 finals. After the match, Sinner bowed to Carlos. "It's very simple, he's a different player. It's that simple. He has no weaknesses, as other players do. He has improved since the last time. This Sunday he played cleaner. The things I did well in London, he did well at the US Open. I felt he did things better than me, especially on serve. He handled the situation exceptionally. I'm proud of myself, but he was better," Jannik admitted honestly. Sinner had a great season, reaching all 4 Grand Slam finals this year, but he knows he has to change his game to beat Alcaraz. "My idea is, even if I have to lose some matches from now on, to try to make changes. I need to be a bit more unpredictable, because I think that's what I have to do to become a better player," he said. Juan Carlos Ferrero reveals the tactic Alcaraz used to topple Sinner in the US Open final. Juan Carlos Ferrero, Carlos Alcaraz's coach, was all smiles this Sunday after the Merchant conquered his second US Open and 6th Grand Slam, also becoming the 4th player in history to win at least 2 majors on each surface. That's why the Valencian coach described his pupil as chameleonic, able to adapt during the match to any instruction from his team. What's most incredible about Carlos is that he's so good at correcting in very little time the small details he needs to improve, Ferrero said at the press conference. He's chameleonic and you can ask him for any circumstance in the match. He adapts and in the end he achieves it, and we also bring that a lot into training. The former Valencian player explained that after the final loss at Wimbledon 2 months ago, also against Sinner, he asked him certain new things in order to prepare for the next matches against Jannik above all. In barely 10 days he improved considerably, said Ferrero, who detailed that they sat down to analyze the Roland Garros and Wimbledon finals to try to see the little things that could be improved. Ferrero also called Alcaraz's performance that afternoon in New York perfect, in which he defeated Sinner 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4 in 2 hours and 42 minutes. He also said that this rivalry with Sinner seems right now like the one Federer, Nadal and Djokovic had for nearly 2 decades. Who knows in the future, he added. The possibility of reaching the Big Three, another subject discussed, seeing that Carlos Alcaraz already has 6 Grand Slams at just 22 years old, was the possibility that he might eventually reach Federer, Nadal and Djokovic's records. However, Ferrero doesn't want to talk about that yet and prefers to go step by step. I can't stop to think whether he's going to win 20 Grand Slams. We have to live day by day. The potential is there. We can't deny it. He can win many Grand Slams, but we take nothing for granted. Everything must be earned and worked for, and to reach the final at the Australian Open we'll have to work very hard in December, he concluded. The success has taken Carlos Alcaraz to a total of 67 singles matches played. He has won 61, always reaching the latter stages. He has made 8 consecutive finals since April, winning Monte Carlo, Rome, Roland Garros, Queens, Cincinnati and the US Open. He lost in Barcelona and Wimbledon. He took a break after the London grass, skipping the Toronto Masters 1000. The formula worked, as he arrived at Cincinnati and the US Open in top form, with his energy and morale full. After the success in New York, Carlos Alcaraz and his team have decided to make another change in the planned schedule. The Mercian will withdraw from the Davis Cup tie between Spain and Denmark, on clay at Puente Romano, Marbella, on September 13th and 14th. Jaume Munar was already prepared for any contingency and will join Alejandro Davidovich, Pedro Martinez and, if his ankle is well after the New York injury, doubles champion Marcel Granollers. David Ferrer will captain. Alcaraz wants to rest. It was a surface change when he will then continue on hard courts. His schedule continues with the Laver Cup in San Francisco from September 19th to 21. Then back to individual work on the Asian Tour, with stops at the ATP 500 in Tokyo, from September 24th to 30, and the ATP Masters 1000 in Shanghai, from October 1st to 12. Sinner surrenders to Alcaraz like never before. Carlos has no weaknesses. The Italian says there's no one on the tour like Alcaraz. It's very simple, he's a different player from the rest. Why is Carlos Alcaraz becoming Jannik Sinner's nemesis? Only the Mercian is beating the man who was number 1 in recent months. And after his defeat in the US Open final this Sunday, he explained very simply why he couldn't beat him. It's very simple, he's a different player. It's that simple. He has no weaknesses, as other players do, said the Italian, who has lost the world number 1 ranking after New York. He will make changes to his tennis to compete with Alcaraz. My idea is, even if I have to lose some matches from now on, to try to make changes, to be a bit more unpredictable, because I think that's what I have to do to become a better player. Since Wimbledon, Carlos has changed some details of his game. Carlos has improved. I felt he was a bit cleaner today. What I did well in London, he did better today. He believes Alcaraz handled the match better and that was key to winning the tournament. I felt he was doing everything a bit better today, especially the serve, both sides, both swings very clean. Yes, I think that's it. I give him a lot of credit, because he handled the situation better than me. He raised his level when he had to, so yes, I'm still proud of myself, of the season I'm playing and having. But yes, he played better than me today, Jannik concluded. How much Alcaraz earns after his US Open victory? For being US Open champion, Carlos Alcaraz receives a prize of $5 million, which is about 4.27 million euros. Aryna Sabalenka, the women's singles champion, receives the same amount. It is the highest prize in tennis history, 39% higher than last year's bonus, when the winner, Sinner, took in $3.6 million. In this tournament, Sinner this time finished in second place, and will pocket $2.5 million, just like the women's runner-up, Amanda Anisimova. Compared with the prize of another of this year's great trophies, Roland Garros, the US Open figure is much higher. The Mercian took home €2.4 million for his triumph at Roland Garros, while Sinner earned €3.5 million for his Wimbledon crown.